Alright, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. So the recent Digimon Story Time Stranger Alternate Dimension DLC just dropped, and with it comes 6 new Digimon, all with their own unique quirks. A pretty common sentiment is most definitely going to be which ones are good, so that's what we're going to be discussing here. I'll be breaking down which of the new Digimon are worth investing in, and which are maybe a little bit underwhelming when zooming out and looking at the full roster. That being said, make sure to sit back, relax, subscribe for more Digimon and monster taming content, and let's dive in. Okay, so when discussing which Digimon are good, it's important to understand what makes a good Digimon in Digimon Story Time Stranger, as opposed to other RPGs. Each Digimon has its own unique stat distribution and level up skills. However, in this game, you can essentially get every stat to 9999, and attachment skills are able to be learned by any Digimon. Passive traits are also determined by personality skills, which can again be learned by any Digimon. So the only real factors to consider when determining whether or not a Digimon will fit on your team is going to be the Digimon's type, its elemental weaknesses and resistances, and most importantly, its special skills, which are unique to that specific species and will be the focus of this video. This is why non-mega level Digimon can still be really powerful or useful, like Agiomon and its Attract Echo ability, which taunts enemies and then raises its evasion. Despite being only a champion level, it can, for all intents and purposes, function as a mainstay for a team, since its stats will be maxed just like any other Digimon. Okay, so there are 6 new Digimon, a chunk of which are basically just Omnimon forms, so we'll start with those. Also note that all of the Digimon are virus types except Crest-Garurumon. Starting with Omnimon Alter S, this basically has 2 inverted Omnimon skills, those being Transcendent Cannon and Supreme Sword, the first of which does 100 light damage and extra damage to Beast Digimon, the second of which does 100 electric damage and increased damage to Dragon Digimon. Both are physical attacks. Notably, and this is going to be true for all of the Omnimon variants here, its sword attack is not a spread move like Omnimon and Omnimon's Ward. This means that it has a decreased utility in non-boss or bosses with multiple minion situations to consider. As much as I love its design and I think it's really cool, I don't think this one is particularly special, nor will it make a huge difference on a team. Similarly, Omnimon Alter B has the same 2 moves with a caveat. Both moves are still 100 damage, however, Supreme Sword is now a dark type move, and both of its moves only have 90% accuracy, however, do have a 10% crit rate bonus. Basically, if you're willing to sacrifice some accuracy for improved crit rate, perhaps combining it with equipment and support in order to mitigate the accuracy loss and improve its crit rates further, this could have some utility if you're going to build around it. If you're just going to throw it on any random team, however, I do personally think that the consistency of Alter S is going to be beneficial over this one, just because I always end up with bad RNG. Now, surprisingly, Alter B's pre-evolution, aka Omnimon's Ward Defeat, I actually feel is the best Omnimon form included, as while it's still lacking the AEO in Supreme Sword like the others do, it only sacrifices 5 power for its moves, making them 95 damage, but gets a 15% crit rate buff while not losing any accuracy. It does lose a little bit of coverage since both of its attacks are dark type now, however, one is going to be physical while the other is magic, giving it mixed attacking capabilities. You can also just simply add an electric attachment skill if you're really that concerned about the type differences here. And you'll also get bonuses against Divine and Holy Digimon as well. You could also run him with Haymaker for extra crit damage or Strategic Order for a 5% buff to crit rate if you're going all in. Now, I do think this next one's going to be particularly noteworthy in terms of its special moves. Parallelmon has a really interesting moveset that sort of acts as an anti-healing and debuff set. He has Absorbent Bang, which is a 90 damage dark physical move that has a 30% chance to inflict injury, which stops the enemy from healing, and it has Endless Trance that will always reduce the attack of the enemy by 10% for 3 turns. It's an 85 damage physical neutral type move as well. So basically, he can cripple enemies, rendering them unable to heal, then reduce their outgoing damage, all while dealing damage himself. You could couple him with the Prankster personality skill, which will up the rate of injury being applied, or Booing for an extended debuff duration. His 2 attacks do extra damage to humanoids and beast Digimon respectively. Blitz Greymon also has a very interesting moveset as well. Its first move is Plasma Stake, which is pretty basic. It's just an electric move that does 95 base damage, and foes that are dinosaur traits will get extra damage done to them. But more interestingly, it has Elec Guard, which boosts resistances for all allies to any physical or magic attack by 20% and increases electric resistance on top of that. These effects last for 2 turns, so he's definitely a candidate to use as a bulky support for sure, and might actually be one of the best Digimon of the 6. This one's pretty versatile, and there's a ton of options in terms of personality skills. Hustle Cry seems to be a really good one because it would extend the buff duration. Finally, we have Cress Garurumon, the only non-virus type, but instead a data type, who has Beast Cyclone, which is a 90 power physical steel move that hits Beast Digimon harder, and Fury Ice Moonfang, which is a really powerful spread ice type move that hits for 70 damage and will also hurt Beast type Digimon as well. Now, I would personally say that Blitz Greymon and Parallelmon and potentially Omnimon Zwart Defeat seem to be the best Digimon of the group, just because each has their own utility, with Blitz Greymon acting as perhaps a support, Omnimon Zwart Defeat being a crit maxer, and Parallelmon being able to debuff and anti-heal. That being said, I'm not going to pretend I'm some 200 IQ team building master, but based on what I can see so far, it seems that the 2 Omnimon Alter forms are pretty standard, and Cress Garurumon, while having a strong spread move, is pretty basic as well, but still could be useful. If I were to guess, I'd say that Blitz Greymon might end up seeing the most use just because it has a lot of utility, followed by Parallelmon for its debuffing abilities, then maybe Zwart Defeat from there, and then the other 3 will kind of see mixed usage based on just them looking sick. That being said, we will definitely have to wait for more players who are smarter than me to come up with some insane builds like they always do. Make sure to share any cool combos in the comment section, as I might end up turning them into a future video. I wanted to keep this breakdown sort of in a vacuum since it's pretty early on and just discuss each Digimon individually. All in all, I have to say that I'm quite surprised that they didn't just end up making all the DLC Digimon insanely overpowered as a way to get people to buy it, because that's generally what happens in the modern age of video games, even in single player titles. So at the very least, it does seem like when zooming out to the broader picture of Digimon, the power levels of these ones seem to be mostly in line with what's already available. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Time Stranger and monster taming content, and just wanted to say special thanks to our supporters, especially Candy Marunci, Tragsoft, Valorware, Nemo, and Wrathful Beast, and we'll see you next time. Peace.